So, let's talk about something we've probably all dealt with at some point. You know the drill. A company makes you a promise, but when it's time for them to actually deliver, crickets. Nothing but total silence. Well, today we're going to break down a story just like that, and more importantly, what you can actually do about it.
It's an incredibly frustrating situation, isn't it? It can make you feel completely powerless. But what if I told you there's a game plan for this? A playbook you can use to fight back and hold these companies accountable.
All right, let's set the scene. Our story kicks off with a total travel nightmare, the kind that makes your stomach drop. So, meet Frances Dooley. She's all set for a big family reunion on Australia's beautiful Gold Coast. But then, bam! The hotel she booked through Booking.com suddenly cancels on her. The reason? The classic, we're overbooked. Just a terrible way to start any trip.
Now, to their credit, Booking.com seems to step up. They tell her, hey, no problem, find another room, and if it costs more, we promise we'll refund you the difference. And this is crucial. Frances was smart about it. She got that promise in writing.
And we're not talking about a few bucks here. The new place ended up costing her an extra $655. But she had the promise in an email, so she figured, okay, I'm covered, no problem.
But you can probably guess where this is going. After the trip, when Frances went to collect on that promise, she wasn't met with a refund. She was met with nothing. Radio silence.
And this is where the real frustration kicks in. In the first month, she submits her claim, just like they told her to. A month goes by, she sends follow-up emails, gets no response. Another month passes. She's trying to call them, and still, absolute silence. She was basically being ghosted by a massive corporation.
This is where the story gets really interesting, because it turns out that ironclad promise Frances thought she had, well, it might not have been so solid after all.
Let's play detective for a second here. Was this a firm guarantee, or was something else going on in the fine print?
And here it is. This is the whole case right here, in just a few words. The email says, so we can look into a refund for you. Whoa. Look into is a universe away from we will refund you. It's a subtle change, but it makes a massive, massive difference.
And there's a name for this kind of thing. Weasel-words. It's that slippery, ambiguous language designed to give a company an out. It sounds like a real promise, but it's not legally binding. It's a trap, and honestly, it's so easy for any of us to fall into if we're not paying super close attention.
Okay, so Frances found herself in a really tough spot, but this is the important part. Let's pivot from her problem to your solution. Let's build your playbook for what to do when a company pulls this on you.
First thing to remember, customer service ignoring you is not a dead end. It's a signal. It means it's time for you to change your strategy and escalate things.
So, here are the 3 critical steps. First, always get promises in writing. A phone call is fine for a conversation, but an email is proof. Second, you have to keep a detailed paper trail. This is your evidence, your ammo. And third, if the front line of customer service is just a brick wall, you've got to go over it. Find the contact info for the company executives. Let's really hammer this home. Writing creates a permanent record. But the single most powerful thing you can do is clarify those vague promises before you act. If someone tells you they'll look into it, you need to reply and ask, just to be crystal clear, does that mean you guarantee a full refund? Pin them down. That paper trail proves you acted in good faith the entire time.
Now, Frances did everything right, but she was still stuck. And sometimes, even with the best playbook, you need to bring in a professional to break the stalemate.
And that's exactly what happened here. This whole case was taken on by the consumer advocate Christopher Elliott and his team over at Elliott Advocacy. This is literally what they do. They specialize in situations just like this.
All right, so let's get to the good part, the resolution. Because once a professional advocate gets involved, the entire dynamic of the situation just flips.
The moment Christopher Elliott contacted Booking.com on Frances's behalf, things started moving. Suddenly, the company was able to investigate her complaint, and what do you know? Just like that, they decided to issue the refund. And there it is, the final outcome. The full $655 was returned to Frances. Sure, it took months of frustration and the help of an advocate, but in the end, the company made good on its word. That is a true consumer win.
So, the power isn't entirely in their hands. You have the playbook now. Get it in writing,
call out the weasel words, and escalate when you're met with silence. The real question is, now that you know the strategy, what are you going to do with it?